Hey everybody, so we're going to continue or finish up our heart rate zone training topic this month with why would you choose one heart rate zone over another? So before I answer that, let's talk about or rehash what each zone is and what they're good for. So zone 1 is your gray zone, and that's 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. Now, that's good for overall health, recovery, movement. It's long, it's slow, it's healing, oxygenating. It's the walk before coffee with your girlfriends, right? It's a swim in the ocean, just like beautiful movement. Your zone 2 is your blue zone, which is 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. And this is good for basic endurance training and fat burning. And when I say fat burning, and I put it in inverted commas, it's because you don't necessarily burn more fat when you're performing in that zone. You just burn it as at a higher percentage or ratio of fat to carbs as you do in the higher heart rate zone. So whilst you're burning a higher percentage, you're actually still burning a low relative number. So you might burn more fat in absolute terms in the higher zones, but a lower percentage. It really doesn't matter. Don't get too caught up on fat burning. I just felt like I had to stick it in there. It doesn't work the way we think it's going to work. So it just stick to your blue zones for your warm-ups, your cool-downs. If you're not 100%, but you're still feeling good, you should be able to have it's a way to get warm, get breathless, but you don't flog or stress yourself in the blue zone. You should be able to carry on a conversation, and a lot like the gray zone, it's quite sort of healing, happy movement feelings. Zone 3 is your green zone. So this is the middle. This is the average, and this is the benchmark, if you're feeling ordinary, to where you'll either go lighter for one reason or heavier for another reason. So the green zone is 70 to 80% of your max heart rate. It's good for getting sweaty. It's good for building endurance. You can sustain it for 30, 40, 50 minutes, like long time. You're still working aerobically, so you're using oxygen for cell energy, and it feels challenging, but it's doable. You're puffed, you're pushing yourself, but it's achievable and maintainable. Okay, it's exercise. Your zone 4 is your yellow zone, which is 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, and this doesn't feel so good anymore, although the endorphins when you finish are through the roof. So at about 84% of your max heart rate, and this is very specific and you don't necessarily need to know it, your body starts burning fuel without oxygen. This is called anaerobic exercise, and you can push for up to about 10 minutes in this zone, but because you're not covering your oxygen costs, your body will pull you back. So you can't sustain it that high. Your body's metabolism, once you've hit this zone or repeatedly hit this zone, will stay elevated for up to 60 minutes post-exercise. So this is called post-exercise energy consumption, or if you like it in short, EPOC. We call it EPOC. It feels like you're going all out on a dance floor, but you're really enjoying it, but then you have to stop and sit one out. It's hard, you're sweaty, but unsustainable for long periods. Zone 5 is the red zone. So this one's 90 to 100%, and it is great for giving your all. You'll build power and explosive strength in this zone, but it's only possible for a few seconds and up to 2 minutes. So it's full on. You can do longer-ish if you're very conditioned. But you'll feel the limits of your lungs. I like to call the bottom of your lungs, and the limits of your energy. And sometimes it can make you nauseous. Okay, it's that exhausted, slightly ill feeling. Now you'll get an EPOC in this zone as well, but more is not necessarily better. Harder is not necessarily better. So back to our original question, why choose one zone over the other? Well, because variety, okay? Because variety. Each zone trains a different effect and a different response inside your body. So if you want to use your heart rate zones well, basically, remember I said the green zone is your fundamental. This is for general fitness, by the way. If you're a 100-meter sprinter, don't take this advice, talk to your coach. But the rest of you who are just, monitoring your heart rate out of interest, your main cardio training should be in the green zone. If you're not feeling, if you had a stressful day, back off to the blue zone. If you're, a little run down and you've had a stressful day, maybe into the grey zone. If you're feeling energized and ready to go, maybe you step up into the yellow a few times in your session. So basically, you use a number of parameters to decide whether you're going to stay in the green, drop down, or drop up, okay? And then what you want is variety across the day, variety across the week, and variety across the month, okay? We don't want to be going hard all the time because that can be overtraining, that can be injury, and that can be added stress, okay? So the goal with these red zones and doing your best is to hit them strategically, not every time you train. So why or when to hit a red zone? You can hit your red zones 1 to 3 times a week under the following conditions. You've slept well, you've eaten enough calories, and you've eaten enough nutrients. You're well hydrated, you're not stressed, and stress I'm calling emotional, mental, physical stress, all stress. You've had at least 1 day of rest since you last hit your red zone, and you're feeling energized. You want to do it, okay? If you're really dragging your feet, it may not be good for you. Now, when you're in those yellow and red zones, you hit them for a few seconds and then you back off. So I'm going to give you some little examples of different kinds of interval training to get up there today. The first one, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, is Tabata. So Tabata training you do for 4 minutes, following the 20-second on, 10-second off pattern. So good Tabata because it's short, 20 seconds. You can do fairly explosive, I forgot you guys don't need that on, explosive activities that can only be sustained for 20 seconds, right? And then you have 10 seconds off, and then you go again. Okay, you do that for 4 minutes. That'll hit you really high. You can repeat these activities for up to 20 minutes in the Tabata, but 4-minute blocks is all we do in this environment. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off for about a half-hour program. You would do a much easier style activity for the cardio if you're going to do 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, because you have to sustain it for longer, right? So I find the 2 minutes on, 1 minute off works really well for, running, working on your speed and power and endurance all at once when you're running, cycling bursts, swimming, that sort of endurance activity. You can hear I'm puffed, right? And then the final example I wanted to give you was stair sprints. So that's generally a 30-second all-out sprint, and then 3 or 4 minutes walking back down slowly. All of these are genuine, fabulous ways to hit those high zones. And the key to reaping the benefits of hitting those high zones is enough rest and enough recovery. Okay, so more is not necessarily better. So remember that. And then only if you've hit all those parameters, slept well, ate well, eaten well, etc., do you go hard and go high. And then the activity you choose will depend on the outcome you want. So probably having a coach is a good idea. One more thing, if you're choosing an explosive form of cardio, like I did, burpees, stair sprints, please get your pelvic floor checked first. And I think there's a link in the notes where you can find your closest one in Australia and New Zealand. So please remember to send me your questions. And then next week, we're getting started on getting more from your pelvic floor. So beyond just Kegels and squeezing, how to build or how to enhance that effect.